Hi, I'm Bill Snodgrass. I'm the author of the World of Siliar and one of the creators. And in this segment, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the maps of the World of Siliar. I had a correspondence through Twitter this week, someone who's like really said, I really loved your maps. I spent a lot of time looking at your maps, that sort of thing. And I said, well, you know, the maps to me are almost like nuggets of inspiration. So I want to talk a little bit about the maps. They started off, I'm thinking it was around 1986, 85, something like that. Cameron and I were going to roll out the World of Siliar as a platform for our game system. And we started sketching maps out, and we had in the past made maps and trying to, you know, grid out rectangles. So Cameron gridded the map out into squares. There were 200 miles on a side, 200 by 200. So if you look at the world map, you'll see the grid lines on there, and each grid is 200 by 200 miles, which is a pretty large area. And then we started filling in those grids with detailed maps. We didn't draw a detailed map of every single grid, but the grids where things were happening. Well, after we quit playing the World of Siliar as a game, I started writing it as a book. I continued to add to those maps, and so somewhere along the way, over in Valley Kingdom, there's a road that comes out of the Valley Kingdom, and then it's supposed to connect to a road in another adjacent map. But when I started piecing it all together, there was a disconnect there. And so you'll see that the maps all are nice and tidy, except for there's this one little section. There's a disconnect, and someday I probably would like to go back and redraw that Valley Kingdom map and fix that disconnect, but it has not really been a necessity. I feel like what happens, in the stories are not affected by that disconnect in the maps, and I just know that it's like a interspatial time warp or something. If you go off the top of this map, you end up on the bottom of that map. And that whatever the disconnect from the way I really do think it was the Valley Kingdom map that somehow that road that connected into the Gateway City, I don't know, something happened there, and I just, could redraw that map. Probably will do that someday. But that's it. That's the story about the maps. They were originally hand-drawn with pencil, and then we started going over them with ink, and then we started going over with colored ink, and I ended up having this little fancy Bic pen that had 4 colors on it, green, red, blue, and black, and that became like my map pen, and I used that for a lot of the maps. And then somewhere along the way I got Photoshop, and then somewhere along the way I started redoing maps in Photoshop, and now there's some maps over that on the east coast, the west coast of Pranashine. There's some maps there that are they weren't drawn back in the 80s, and they're now being drawn just basically digitally. I'm doing elevations on some of the maps so that you can see as elevations go up, sort of where the contour lines are. Doing that by dark and being tall. And so anyway, the maps have evolved. It's been a lot of fun. I really do. I look at the maps and I go, well, what would happen? Why is there a thing here, a curve, a road, a bump? Back in 2000 and back in 1987, we drew this. 1985, whenever we drew these things, we might have just been like, the pen skipped. But then I look at those things now, all these years later, and I go, there must be a story about this little bump in the road, and it spawns my imagination. So I'm real fond of the maps. I'm trying to share those with you. Anyway, if you have any questions about the maps, or if you see anything that you think is noteworthy, leave me a comment, question, suggestion down in the comment section of this video. Please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.